corners of New Zealand, Australia and Asia, radically making magic on the paddock round the fire. Bonzaar, Bonzaar Podcast.
Bonzaar, welcome to all. I'm Stevan and thanks for tuning in to the Bonzaar Podcast, a conversation show about the 2025 Underland experience. In this episode, we'll reflect back at the Underland burn and time capsule this event from various perspectives and thoughts such as from Artery, Effigy and volunteering, and offer some behind-the-scenes insights, break down some talking points from the burn, and see if we can all make it to the threshold in 2026. With me to talk about all these final points, we have Sacha, Dylan and Jenny. Welcome.
G'day.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, we made it.
Let's get some quick introductions. Tell us about what roles you played at Underland and how did you contribute to the community, to the event.
Who's on first?
I can go first. So I'm Jenny Red. In 2025, I had the privilege of being acting lead for Artery, which are the art grants. I helped out with Artery a bit the year before, and all of the Artery systems have been set up by Danae in the first couple of years, and she had a brand new person. She gave birth to a brand new person right before Artery, so she wasn't there. So I got to have the pleasure of working with artists, helping them set up their art, and helping with the Artery team to work out, to distribute arts grants and ignition grants, which are more for performances and arts. I also did some shifts at the Coco Poco Loco Saloon and some other fun stuff like that.
Cool. And Sacha, Snugfuzz, let's hear your story. What did you do at Underland?
This year, I focused my contributions with Centre Camp, returning from last year and really enjoying being the centre of everything and connecting people to what's going on and where they are. I ran the first workshop of the burn on the Thursday, which was a introduction to beatbox workshop, which was very popular, went very well. And we ended up having a cabaret later in the night, some of those students, which I'll talk about later in the podcast.
And let's introduce Dylan. How you going, Dylan?
Yeah, I'm good.
Tell us about your journey into Underland.
I have been aware of Burning Man for a very long time, and I'm an architect. And I recently entered the kind of festival scene. I had been to one festival before Underland, Interstellar, and friends and colleagues who had met me through all of that kind of dance community said, you should go to this. And you're pretty creative. Why don't you put in an idea for the Effigy? Which I did, and then was told that I would be making it. So I've had a kind of I'm coming in hot.
Trial by fire?
Trial by manufacture and fire, yes.
Yeah, cool. And we also have Lady Greythorn also joining us. Lydea, would you like to quickly say hello, introduce yourself?
Greetings and salutations. I've finally arrived.
Welcome.
How are we all today?
Excellent.
Excellent. What did you do at the burn, Lydea?
Oh, nothing. I was I was very low key. Yeah, I wasn't busy at all. I worked on the gate, brought Constable Copperfield to the gate as part of the spanking police. And I also worked in Sanctuary this year and ran a workshop at a centre camp and had a little renegade theme camp toad hall that was shooting cocktails and hors d'oeuvres to anyone who dropped in.
So I want to get your quick thoughts about this year's Underland. Underland Pop was a theme. What do you think of overall, in general? I mean, we had pretty changing weathers. We had a different site layout, and we had more children, I think, more kids this year.
10% kids.
Yeah, that's a pretty high number.
And it speaks well for the future.
It does. Baby burners.
It made it more wholesome?
Look,
I think it's healthy for the community to have kids around.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we want to have a burn that has a voice for everyone, which includes parents and children and adults of all types. I think, as many different diverse voices as we can get expressing themselves in the paddock, the better.
I loved having the kids there because they just loved this. They loved the Effigy. They love the serpent. They love getting in. And most of the messages, I reckon, that were written down on little scales we put in there were from kids, and they were just delightful, so insightful, and clearly coming from, connected families. And I think that for kids to see the performative and kind of demonstrable nature of how the burner community actually comes together is a key to the long-term success of the burner community.
I think we're all there trying to reconnect with our inner child, and I don't think there's a better guide to that than an actual child.
The outer children.
The outer children.
Exactly. I had a ball. Their enthusiasm for what they were looking at matched mine, and in some cases exceeded it. But it was really lovely. Yeah, and seeing all just the craft and the familial kind of linkages. I think that was really great for me.
And it's okay because we can manage the spaces to have adult spaces without kids as well, as long as we communicate and plan.
And time's a great equalizer there. 2 a.m. What's that kid doing here?
I had a shibari workshop happening in Centre Camp. They asked me to keep the kids away, so I was beating on them heavily with chess. They were very distracted from what was going on the other end of the space.
I don't know. Shibari might be better than chess.
Not for the children.
Well,
I think we can approach, and we do approach everyone on the paddock individually. So one of the giftings I did this year was the spanking police, and Constable Copperfield was out with a spanking paddle and a very skimpy outfit. And, nefarious things were done to consenting adults, but at the same time, the kids loved her too. And she would come up, they were immediately attracted, and we were going, well, have your parents been behaving? Have they been giving you enough sugar? Have they been letting you stay up late? And they were quite prepared to dob their parents in for inappropriate overuse of vegetables. And I just made the parents do star jumps and burpees or sing I'm a Little Teapot. And, and they can interact with something that can be, highly sort of kink-orientated for adults, but for them it's just harmless fun.
Love it.
Play is the glue that connects us together.
Yeah, and it keeps us young. We need to stay that. We need to be able to tap into that kind of optimism and kind of frivolity.
And from an Artery perspective, Jenny, how was the burn overall?
Look, I've been to 3 Underlands and Burning Cedar. This was my favourite burn by a long stretch. There was so much texture this year. I've been doofing since doofing started in Melbourne. It's actually 1993, and I now think burns are better because there's so much texture. You can literally go to bed at 9 o'clock and get up every day and play. And in fact, if you don't and you stay up late, you miss out on stuff. The art was amazing. We have large art grants and small art grants. And so the large art grants, it's separate to the grants that are done for the effigy and the temple, which are built and burnt. And some of the art was incredible. We had the fairy bloom, and it had seesaws on it. So there were people riding on that. There was one extra piece that was built that was sort of a memorial. There was projections. There was small art. There was big art. And then we also had ignition grants, which are performances. And so that was roving performances or people putting on food or people, doing some sort of live performance. And there was no way that you could experience everything that was going on the paddock this year. It was diverse. There was lots of ways for different types of people to engage. And it was so colourful and vibrant.
I want to shout out my personal gratitude for receiving an Artery grant for my small gifting. Beyond sort of the money that's provided to help support you, one of the questions in the questionnaire was if you don't get the Artery grant, what happens to your art? And I was like, I'll pay for it. That's fine. It wasn't so much the money as the validation that I felt, which then fell through to a responsibility to make sure that it really was adding to what was happening in the paddock. So I think whoever thought of the ignition grants, I'm just going to say, awesome job.
And this was my realization this year. And, having always been like really happy just to be a paddock shit kicker and not really have skills, I started working with arts grants because that's really where my skill set is in nonprofit organisation. And it brought me to the realization that, that as they say, that art is at the heart of the burn, which is why our logo is a heart. But if you look at the burns, it's a giant excuse to actually be able to give grants to artists. You sell tickets for people to come and see the art, so you can give grants to artists, so that you could sell more tickets to give more artists money. So it's a cycle of creativity, and I just really appreciate having that insight now. And there is a map, and you can just see as much art as you can, or as many performances. And the diversity is fantastic.
So one of the biggest art grants you can receive is building the temple or effigy. So Dylan, would you like to give us some insight into your experience? Because this was not just your first burn, your first build, but you also had a birthday at Underland.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. So yeah, I mean, I mentioned that I'd been aware of Burning Man. I didn't know that there were regional burns until, my crew and the people that I've been meeting in this kind of new life told me all about it. I'm a creative and I do stuff all the time. I make buildings that take forever and involve, thousands of people. So I put a little idea in for the effigy and forgot about it completely. And a couple of months later, I got a phone call from a fellow named Axel, who is an absolute rock. He is the core of making this stuff. And he said, "Oh yeah, we've got to organise a video call to sort of get the team together." And I was like, "Have I won?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I managed to recruit a couple of great architects out of my team to work with me after hours, unpaid, because I know that the philosophy is to be unpaid. And I had this idea. I've got really great networks into manufacturing and supplies and materials, and I managed to get basically everything donated, which was amazing, like waste stream, timber veneers, and $3,000 worth of robotic cutting done for 2 slabs of beer, and lots of really great people. So for me, the burn was really focused on trying to deliver this and make it real. And I was really anxious about it for quite a long time. But the anxiety came because I care and I wanted to do a really good job. And so I was involved with the burner crew well before I really understood what the whole event was going to be. And I was up there a week before and at centre camp and at the crew camp with the crew kitchen team and meeting all of the people and building this sculpture. I didn't even notice that the festival had actually started because I was so
So you didn't get the burgeon experience of ringing the gong, going through the ceremony.
No, everyone thought I was an old hand. Everyone's continuously surprised that I was building the effigy and I'd never been to a burn before. And in fact, it was only my second ever festival. So
sounds like you nailed the immediacy.
Yeah. Got that. Yep.
This year, stop by the gate, Dylan. You're going to have to ring the gong.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly.
You can catch up on that.
Better late than never, right?
I didn't ring the gong.
It was my second
burn.
Yeah. So it was my absolute favourite burn. Like you can say about your absolute favourite child when you've only got one. It was. I have found the community generally that I've met, and the specific burner community so generous, like really generous, not just non-judgmental, but generous, genuinely interested, incredibly intelligent from such a broad swathe of community. It's been revelatory for me personally, and I was really taken by just the overall intensity and enthusiasm and community spirit of everybody getting in and building these things. I grew up in England for a couple of years, so I'd been to a few Guy Fawkes nights and the festival down at Penzance, and I've had experience in that kind of circus lifestyle, but to see such commitment and effort and care going into all of the theme camps and the art and the moments and the shows and even the roving crews who were like delivering these kinds of wild experiences. I had an absolute ball. It was truly it was amazing for me, and I put a lot into the effigy. It's a serpent. It was a snake called Orphus. It happened to be the year of the snake, which is sort of probably fed into it, but it's also a symbol that exists in every single culture for this kind of idea of rebirth and shedding old ideas and regeneration, but also an awareness and a kind of an alertness about the potential of the serpent, which I think is really relevant today, given the shit fuckery that's going on the planet, particularly with humans. Well, specifically with humans. And so it was great to finally be pointed out by somebody that it was a year of the wooden snake. So I was even happier. And burning it, everyone was like, "Oh, did you feel sad? Did you feel, how did that feel?" I was in absolute ecstasy. My sister came to Underland because I was building the effigy, and she said, "I'm going to be there." So we had an absolute ball, and she took a video of the burn and when it was all going up. And I am like a kid on cocaine. It's like insane. I'm so excited about what I'm seeing and happening, and yeah, it's transformative.
I had an opportunity last year. I actually went to 3 burns last year, and the one in Spain, Nowhere. It is a fantastic desert burn. It's energy, all sorts going on, the workshops, all the usual things we'd expect from a burn. But being the middle of summer and wood being expensive, they don't burn anything. It made a profound difference to the connection of the community. Because whatever we're doing at a burn, whether we're up late, up early, doing workshops, gifting, nobody has the same burn experience. And you can put 12 people in a room and none of them will have seen the same thing except for the effigy and the temple. It's what brings us together and what strengthens our community. And it really is one of the things that makes a burn what a burn is, all coming together just to watch that thing go up in flames and feel the emotions and the connections and get naked.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit more about that later. Now, Snugfuzz, you have been to all of the Underlands, would you say?
I think I missed the first proto event. I like to say I've been to double figures of burns, because I think the number gets to a bit of a measuring contest, which is unhelpful for the conversation.
Well, what's your opinion and what was your experience of Underland 2025?
Well, I think burns are a fractal phenomenon that come from emergent properties embodied with principle. So there's many, many avenues to come in, but from 2 people up, if you're coming with the right intention, it's a burn. So my ones have been at Seed, at the Canberra burns, and my focus is generally always on the civic infrastructure. That's what really gets me going. From my first burning Seed, I was waiting in line for a coffee, and they were like, "We need more rangers." I was like, "I don't know what a ranger is, but I will go and do the thing that's needed." I've been in the greeters teams and the sanctuary team, and I've slowly gravitated towards center camp. It's been really good. It's a slightly less pressured role, but you're still connecting community with information. My burn started with a really intense wind disaster that flipped my marquee, and I thought it was all broken. I thought my accommodation was done for the week, but the whole team got around me, a lot of the Toad Hall members, and helped put Humpty Dumpty back together again. And then straight into my workshop. I did most of the morning sessions at Center Camp. So I don't know if anyone came to the intense sound healing, extreme sound healing that was hosted every day. That ended up being very popular. I'm not sure we had any repeats, but we definitely had a decent crowd across the days. I've been thinking about the balance between how much we want to have the same workshop versus how much we want to have different workshops versus how important is it to have space in the schedule to allow Center Camp to be more low energy as well. I find I sort of change what I want to do, contributing every sort of three years or so. I don't think I've even done half of the things it's possible to do in a burn, but I really enjoy learning about all the ways we put it together, and I connect along the way.
Cool. So, how did you get involved in the burner scene, in the burner culture? How did you find out?
My mate Ash went to the first burning seed. It wasn't at Matong, it was somewhere else. I went to the second one in my uni break, and I just camped randomly in the field, and I ended up by Andy and Jen, and we sort of ended up making a thing called Camp Casbah, which made burritos and had a war with the unicorns. And Andy went on to make Red Earth Radio. Well, the camera ones were really, really small and really fun, but I'm excited to see Underland grow as well. I know we're trying to be very sustainable and not be too risky, but getting up to 1,000 or more than 1,000, it's very exciting because there's always more than you can do, but having more than you can do is even more exciting.
Yeah, more arts grants too. Yay!
More art.
More arts grants, more civic infrastructure. People always say, I want more theme camps, but they don't realize you have to have the civic infrastructure to support everything under. Yeah, it did get very cold on one of those nights. I don't know if everyone was ready for that.
It was that wild fog that came through.
On
It
the
was
morning,
like something out
yeah.
of science fiction. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and suddenly it's like you could only see 3 feet ahead of you. And I was like, where did that come from? It was wild.
Be ready.
Everyone should wear lasers.
I think I was out near the temple when that came down, and I went, oh, I have to get my way back to camp.
One of the things I'm really interested in is there's clearly a massive sort of meta narrative on master planning for Burning Man, with the whole kind of circular kind of radial city planning, because it's basically a city. But I'd be really interested to see if Underland could actually deploy some urban planning around the way the shapes of the places are made, because unlike a doof where there's like camping over there, partying over here, the nature of the spaces and the kind of the gifting and the little things that people do feels to me like there might be a way to plan it slightly more organically that actually builds a little bit more engagement in the way that the spaces work. I'm not talking about the actual camps, but their location and proximity and how you get to them. It felt a little bit like I was at a royal show or something where all the camps were sort of just lined up in a big empty space in front of them, and it felt like there was a way that we might be able to plan the space a little bit more integrated, if you will.
It was very linear, and the traditional circle space has a number of benefits for those emergent properties I was talking. I'm not sure of our topography and whether that allows for a circle. Might have to look at some other structures.
No. I don't think it should be a circle, particularly if it's going to be back in Paradise. But I do think that there are a couple of tricks and clues around the nature of where spaces are that sort of stop you going, oh, am I going left or am I going right or where am I going? I think that there would be a way to do some really interesting drawings, ideally with the theme camp leads in the room, to kind of like spatially arrange it in a way that flows really sweetly.
Are you volunteering for town planning there, my friend?
Yeah, of course I am. Look, I at the end of this, I was really taken by what was going on, and I could also see a couple of gaps in some of the systems, perhaps that are deployed in the creation. There's an incredibly strong focus on when the thing is burning. There are dudes in robot suits and fucking fire engines and everything's fucking set up for this moment. But on the lead up to it, there was almost nothing. Like, how is it being built? What's the structure? What's the safety issues around this? And how are we kind of connecting all of these things together? And so I've offered already to CAV to hang in there for the next 9 years. And at least if I don't win the idea to build something, whoever does, I'm happy to, throw my knowledge into making sure that it's deliverable, that it's safe, that it's something that isn't ever going to, create a ruction on the Wednesday before it starts because somebody thinks it might fall over. I think that's really important to have those kind of systems and checks in place on the way up to, and not just for the build, the burn, but through the build phase as well.
I love that mindset. The further you get into a burn, the more you realise the incredible number of hours of volunteer time, effort, expertise that go into creating this, and it's not a commercial exchange. You can't just buy a ticket and attend. It's actually a co-create. everybody contributes. That's what I love about it. It's just seething with creativity,
Yeah.
and everybody can find some way to contribute. But the more you contribute, the more you contribute.
Yeah. Like one of the things my practice used to do was we would work for the City of Melbourne on all of their art commissions in the laneways. So artists would win their project and then they'd be sent to us and we would look at what they were doing and try to understand how we might make it and what the construction was and how we could light it properly and sort of help realize their vision, which is a wonderful part about architecture is it's not just, you're not an artist, you're working in a collaborative space and you're trying to deliver a vision that's not necessarily a singular vision but as a community vision. But if there is a singular vision, your job is to really, how do we make this the best it can be? And so that's something that I think is really of value to the community and to the event. And yeah, it extends to urban planning. Like, how do we plan this out? Where do we put the things? How do we map it above and beyond the kind of the prosaic? You need to be able to drive in and get here and go there. What are some of the moments you could create in the space?
I think there can be some really beautiful experiences going, as you said, from one theme to camp to the other with the town planning organically thought out to be able to create moments of connection and interaction as you go past, bringing that art in and weaving it through and creating streets and thoroughfares and avenues where different activities might be happening.
Yeah, exactly. Particularly for kids, like for when the kids in the day and the kid when you've got that broader range of community at play, having that ability to kind of like navigate, intuitively around things. Go, I want to go back to the space where all of those things were, or where these things were, as opposed to an object in a paddock. I think there's a real power in that.
Let's go on a quick break and we'll be right back to talk about all the art, all the theme camps, and some of the things that's in the survival guide.
Hi, this is Adrian Red Rock at Ranger HQ at Underland on Friday, and I'm just reminded again, entering back into this community, how amazing and supportive the burner community is. Walking in yesterday and setting up tent, and just everyone is so welcome, so caring, and being part of the Rangers, seeing the extra level of care that's there. A great reminder of what an amazing community can be, with shared values and a collective intention of looking after each other. Cheers, Adrian out.
Hi, this is Kimmy. I'm from Melbourne and I'm here at Underland number 3. This is my first one. It's taken me this long to get here after enjoying Seed in the late 2010s. And oh my goodness, this is so delightful. Just such good vibes. It's not a huge, big festival, which is really, really delightful. You can walk around, see everything, so much to see. And I'm volunteering, and that is the best because you get to walk around and see people and have a boogie and, support the crew. Cool. All right. Thanks.
My name is David. I'm here at Underland 2025, looking across the nice sunny fields at Carl walking across with his sparkly jacket. This is my second Underland. It's very exciting and I'm enjoying myself thoroughly.
Yeah, why not? So, I'm Patrick from Ireland / Australia / several other places. And a message to the community. It's good to be back, actually, is my message. I've disappeared for a bit into life, and it's fucking great to be back and have a dance, man. It's fucking awesome. Yeah. Vern, Bendigo, just down the road. So happy to be amongst all this colour and life again. So good. Makes me smile.
This is Magnus. Lovely to be back at Underland, watching it grow each year. This year seems like it's really starting to blossom. So much care and goodwill being put in, inviting more people to come and join that next year.
Hello, future Underland listeners. My name is Michael, here on the beautiful playa that is Underland. This is my first Underland. I'm really impressed by it, to be honest.
I've been away from Melbourne for like the last 5 to 6 years, so I haven't been to an Australian burn in 5 to 6 years, and I've come back and I'm just immediately welcomed with that familiar feeling that I've missed so much. And I've been like noticing just like the level of craftsmanship in like the Australian burns. I feel like there's a lot of like really talented craftsmen who just like the effort and the attention put into the effigy and the temple and the saloon looks incredible. God damn. Yeah, having a great time. What was your name? Steven. And Steven's really nice. He gave me a pen.
Hi everyone, this is Locke here. You may remember me from past burns as the Life Lemon guy. If you were a previous lemon receiver from Life, I'd like to hear from you. Yeah, I don't know if the bit was received or if everyone got the bit, but it was really entertaining from my end to gift. Yeah, look out. Thanks.
Hello there, this is Chris. Such a beautiful time being back here at the burn, and I just want to send love out to everyone, and thanks for all the sharing and thanks for all the love, and I'll see you in the paddock.
Well, this is Naomi from Sydney based. I got to come to this incredible burn with my lovely friend Cara, aka my doof mother. And even though it's not a doof, it's a burn. And I'm having a lovely re-entry into burning life after a long gap since Burning Seed. And I am having the best fucking time. Everyone here is super lovely. There are no bindies to speak of. The ground is incredibly soft and beautiful. And yeah, everyone is incredible. And everyone is burnier than thou, I guess. I feel like I should have something more profound to say, but the only thing I can think of is a fart in the hand is worth 2 in the butt. Good night.
Okay, we're back. Let's get into all the theme camps and all the fuckery and the shenanigans. First of all, let's talk about the survival guide. I thought it was well written. Now, some of the things that stood out for me were the sound etiquettes, the quiet times. Does anyone know what the quiet times were? Do you remember?
I think it varied. There were different end times on different days, but it was generally speaking, after 2 to 4 p.m.
It was from 4 a.m. to midday.
I have no idea.
I appreciate that break.
I didn't even know there was a survival guide.
Oh, Dylan, I'm amazed you made it through. You just survived.
I know, I just survived.
I think one of the lovely things that may be put forward...
Struggle Town, babe, it was Struggle Town.
There's a potential possibility maybe in the future with town planning to... Sorry, forgive me. Can people hear me? Okay,
yeah.
Good. It's just glitching on me. Sorry about that. So couldn't hear it for a sec.
Yep.
Yeah, go, Lydea.
I think there's an opportunity as we grow to look at maybe in that town planning having different sound zones. The ability for there to be, say, a red zone where the party might go all night or as long as it can, given the local council and community restrictions. And then like medium areas that might shut down to be a little quieter at midnight, and then green sections where it's like, hey, there's no PA systems or anything in this area. This is an area for quietness and sleep. And then again, people can have the burn that they want. And I think as we grow, we should hopefully be able to spread out that way.
Yes. This year we had more music camps as well, so it was more different places to go and enjoy the frosty nights with a, nice hard dance to keep warm.
I think the sound camps was fantastic how you laid them out. That I was tucked behind Centre Camp, and it was incredibly close to the action, and yet still really quite quiet in our camp.
There was actually a lot of thought that went in. It was a different layout this year. The road went down the middle, was sort of what might have been envisaged as roundabouts if we had traffic. There was art at all those centre points. Then the sound camps sort of faced outwards in the same direction, so the sound didn't interact. And we had a lot of sound camps in a row so that with no one camped in front of them. And the sound of the camps really didn't intersect with each other, which was really great. And then there was also family camping,
which intersected with the entire camp. The Positeca sound stack was the best I have ever experienced.
They'll be happy about that. And there was quiet camping and family camping. And so I think the family camp area had a real vibe, and the kids, a lot of them, were in that similar age group. So they had their own, vibe. So there were things about the layout that was progressed year on year.
Yeah. And look, my comment about town planning and sort of urban planning that space wasn't a criticism of what it was. I just saw as an architect perhaps an opportunity to build a little bit more magic into it, because there are some very magical planning things that you could do that really kind of give you discovery. And rather than walking up and down a road, there's a kind of a loop track that does something. I don't know what it is, but I love to doodle, and I was doodling sort of things and thinking, oh, this would be interesting and that would be interesting. Who knows?
There were some great camps this year. Like, I want to do a shout out to Auntie Maria's, which was just this gorgeous camp. It had so much texture. You took your shoes off, you went in, it was all comfy, and there were shag rugs that someone had bought at op shops and washed repeatedly. There was all this stuff that had been crocheted and all these colours. And they had DJs playing nice tribal music and people in there just hanging out. It was the most divine space. And they also had a few sessions where they were serving up food. Glutinous snacks that I didn't indulge in. But, and then across the way was the gays who did a fantastic, they won the paddock on the first night of sound camps. They had this fantastic party with all of this glow decor, a lot of which had been made from recycled bottles and Barbie dolls. And I mean, it was just great. And then Coco Poco Loco was back with a saloon that was a piece of art in the execution and came with crazy, shenanigans. So daytime, Western themed, rodeos, and it was just fabulous. And that was just some of the selection.
Yeah, we had about 20 theme camps all up. So I'll just quickly go through some of them, or most of them. The Abyss, Villains, Sin City, Coco Poco Loco, Positeca, Lounge and Friends, Low and Slow. We had Oh Captain, My Captain, Underpants Postal Service, Telekinetic, Tiny Shiny, The Gaze, Auntie Maria's, Eternal Flame, Harmony Lab, and the Hippie Trap, and the Bow Kids. They had their own camp. Any of those camps that stood out for you guys want to mention?
To actually experience everything.
I found it really impossible because I didn't have the survival guide nor the what's on when. And so I was kind of wandering around, just being looped into things as I may have, kind of universe juice aligned with them.
My general approach is to plan exhaustively and then improvise wildly.
I tend to.
But it's nice to have a plan.
Actually, just going out and being drawn in. So every day can be a little bit of a surprise as to what you can find.
I thought the postal service very welcome. I both sent and received post, and when I received post, it had a stamp from another burn as well, from up in Queensland. So there was this really nice intertextuality between the different events.
Can I just say, Rolly won Underland for me. He was on my build team, and he was one of the quietest, most resourceful, most productive, most engaging people that I have ever met.
Yeah, so he had done the post box in Queensland and somehow brought it all the way down here. And then, there were things like it's amazing. There was somebody who was cooking oysters. So Jamie was cooking oysters. I'm trying to remember the name. Hotel Unipig. So he'd be out on the paddock at night and using a blowtorch to cook up oysters. Kilpatrick. There was all sorts of amazing things going on.
Did anyone get trapped at the hippie trap?
Nope. I was going to say, did anybody encounter the badger? He was a finely dressed gentleman with a top hat with butterflies flying around it, and he was handing out compliments on beautiful business cards. Did you?
I believe I received a compliment.
Did you get that one? I love that
relating
one.
to being like a nice avocado.
What was it? Meeting you is like finding the perfectly ripe avocado in a grocery store.
I felt amazing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those things are like
I think it's the
solid,
nicest thing you
and
could
then
probably
they're
say to
bright for about
anybody.
8 seconds, and then they're gone.
You'll be brown by then and
Yeah.
slightly squidgy.
Yeah, but I won't see you tomorrow. Yeah.
Well,
This is a
I'm
right
going to
here,
say if
right now
anyone
moment,
won
babe.
Underland for me, it's Dylan who can I tell a little story, Dylan, about the effigy? So I had gone to
please.
Underland for a while and
Yeah.
watched all those hippies running around the fire going, I want to do that, I've got to build up my body positivity. And finally this year I was like, nope, this is the year. I'm loving myself. I'm feeling the energy. I'm running around that fire. And that gorgeous snake sort of went up beautifully and then the perimeter dropped and nobody came forward. And I'm like, what's going on? What happened? And I'm like, God, I'm going to have to start this. And none of my camp wanted to do it. So I was walking around the perimeter, running into people I knew, going, hey, come on, drop your dacks, come with me. And they were like, oh, I'd love to, but I don't want to go first. And as I walked past, I spotted Dylan. And I had met Dylan at the Burning Pub, just the one before Underland. And he'd told me that he'd built the effigy. So I thought, right, I'm going to change tack here. And I've gone up to Dylan and I've gone, dude, what are you doing? You're the architect. It's tradition. You've got to start the run. Everybody's waiting for you. And and I was like, dude, no, I'm right there with you.
Like,
I will
no
go
way.
with you. We'll do
you're
it
pranking
together.
me.
So, Dylan won Underland for me by donning his clothes and streaking out there, and him and I.
Yeah. Well, I did. There was a precursor, Lydea. I jumped out in my undies and I said, I hear this is a tradition. And if it isn't, it fucking
I
is
will
now.
tell you,
And rip my
Dylan,
undies
a
off,
moment
threw
of
them into the
confession
crowd,
that
ran around the fire.
look, I can't honestly say there's 7.5 billion people or something out there, isn't there? I can't honestly say that's not a tradition somewhere. But it is in Underland, definitely is now.
Well, it is
you and me,
now.
babe.
It was such a revelatory moment because I was as I said before, when it was burning, I was in just this ecstasy, and I get around the house nude normally, and I thought, yep, okay, fuck it, and I was out there. I did a lap, and then I was joined by about 35 people almost instantly.
These were professionals.
Who must have
They
already
had
been
easy
naked,
on
like
off
hiding
kit.
behind people,
Ready
waiting
to go.
for someone to start. It was really great.
Yeah, Velcro.
Yeah, like stripper suits. Rip them off. There was a very funny moment after all of the dancing, and this was really great actually. There were, I don't know, maybe 50 or 60 nude people standing around talking to people who were dressed, and Rhea, who was on the fire team in her full oxygen mask tank with gloves and masks and, completely inflammable fucking suits and boots and stuff. I'm standing there naked. She's standing there in the full protective kit, and she says, hug. I'm like, yep. So I give her a hug, and we're standing in front of exactly the same fire, and I'm like, hang on, do you know something I don't? Like, there's something going to happen.
I think it's a beautiful
Very,
part of
very
the burn.
funny.
I think it really helps us shed all of that stuff that society puts on us. I had one person who I was trying to get to go out with me earlier come up to me naked, as you said, and just say, look, I've always been so body ashamed and so reluctant to show anybody, lights off in the bedroom kind of thing. And this is a beautiful creature who is talking to me. The euphoria, the joy that they were feeling to be so free.
Yeah.
That's what that is about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was getting high fives.
And the generosity of everyone in that crowd is just so amazing.
Low fives.
Yeah, or low fives.
We're not a cult.
Did it feel like you were part of a cult?
No, it was really... No, not at all. Not at all. In a cult, everyone walks around smiling, and there were lots of people who were like, not smiling, but still having a great time. And we don't all have the same message. I tell you what, I think the difference between the effigy burn and the temple burn was really significant for me. The kind of the celebratory kind of euphoria of the effigy compared to the quite solemn and silent burn of the temple was really profound, because I spent a bit of time in the temple. I wrote out lots. I cried like a fucking baby. I had a really wonderful experience where I had been in there and written lots of messages to people deceased and people still alive, both all of whom I love. And then I found myself just sitting on this on that kind of like ridge of dirt to the right hand side, crying. And a fellow came up who was clearly part of the Underland crew, and he just came and he sat down next to me and just said, "Hey, and he didn't really say anything for a while, and he said, "I'm here, if you want to talk, we can talk." And I did, and it was amazing. I didn't know this guy, and he was just so open and brilliant. It was really profound for me. The other significant thing that happened for me at Underland this year is that I finally managed to delete my dad from my contacts on my phone. He died 5 years ago, and I finally got the courage to delete him off my favorites. It was a big moment.
Yeah, the temple is quite a unique part of our culture, our burn, our landscape. It's you probably won't find that in any festivals or gatherings.
Yeah, it was a brilliant invitation for vulnerability and for letting go, So I did that. Yeah.
So the physical and the social infrastructure exists in response to needs in the community. That's why it will keep changing, but that's why it's also so powerful, especially after we have the burn and we've all been squeezed like a sponge to come out the other side of that temple, this Apollonian, silent, spiritual, collective witnessing and release. I think of the whole thing as a bit of like a palindrome, where it's front to back is almost the same, but you have to go through the middle. And it's a very much a constructed ritual that we're constructing and reconstructing and reimagining. Where will we go next? What do we need?
Who am I? You need to know who you are before you can really say what you need.
And look, I think that's where a burn is
a great
so profoundly different. I do have people who are like, oh, look, I can go to dance parties and bush, and do all that here. Why should I go out and camp for days and put all this effort into building stuff and be in this harsh environment? And I'm always like, because you should go out and camp for days, build all this stuff and put yourself in this harsh environment, because it is a place where you will find so many parts of yourself you may not have known were there, or you may have forgotten about. I think it can deconstruct us back to who we were when we first started out, getting rid of those layers of cultural sort of oppression or even just conformity. And that doesn't happen naturally. That happens because people are holding space, like that guy did for you, Dylan, because there's a place. I did the same. I was up there for 2-3 hours, I think, processing a lot of trauma that had happened this year. And I go there for that. And there's not many places in the world, let alone just at, say, bushdoofs or warehouse rapes, where you can do that and you can be surrounded by people who are giving you that permission and encouragement. And then the other side of that, we come out with our craziness as the palindrome, as Sacha was saying.
Yeah, that temple was quite impactful, that even one of our community members in the burn community got a tattoo of that temple, that it resonated with them.
Yeah, it was really interesting because I had met Aaron during the build phase and on a couple of calls, and we hadn't really coordinated anything at all, but the temple and the effigy both rotated in the same direction, had really similar kind of energy. There was it was almost like his was all straight lines and geometry, and mine was not a single straight line to be seen, and geometry, but they had this kind of kundalini energy going up both of them that was really was really powerful. I was really struck by it. We were both really thrilled when we saw how, unplanned the connection between them was really profound. It was great.
I was really excited to be able to experience the temple burn this year, because last year it was on the Sunday night, as it was this year, but the school holidays ended the next day, so parents had to leave. People with school-age kids. So I had experienced an effigy burn, and actually last year I took my clothes off and ran around naked, which also is not something that I typically do. Not something I typically do at the supermarket and so forth. But this year I got to experience that very different energy and that collective awe and collective moment of pause. And I don't think we do that enough as a society, is actually genuinely stop and breathe and hold space. So, it's part of the beauty and inclusiveness of this community. Another thing about burns I really like is that I think it's inclusive for different kinds of people, and that there's lots of fires that sit around and there's lots of things you can do. Like, I think that something like doof culture is really great for extroverts and introverts that like to dance. But the people that are sort of between those two extremes, there's so many places to sit and have a conversation with whoever's next to you, and everybody is open to that. So it's welcoming. It's not perfect, but it is a welcoming.
Can we talk about the Burnable art on Friday night? That was a surprise kind of stealth burn.
Yeah. That was a very special piece that was done. So it was an art grant, and it needed, a whole lot of extra participation from Benji, who's the burning lead, to make it come together. So the artist's name is Chelsea, and she had created this. It was called Timber Stars Vigil, and so she'd actually created something that looked like, it was made from wood, but it looked like it was an ode to a quilt. And her mother had died the year before, and she'd made a lot of quilts for people who were, women in domestic violence shelters and things like this. So Chelsea's concept was to design something that was reminiscent and an ode to her mother, and then they had a small burn for that piece as part of her artwork. It was really special, and it was collaborative in the sense that the wraparound support needed to make that happen was happily contributed by the people who had skills in fire safety and all of those elements.
Is this something that you think we'll see more of in the future for Burnable arts?
I think that I think that the process needs to be looked at. I know there was somebody who emailed right after Underland with an art concept that was something that was something burnable, and I think we just have to be sure that we have enough people with fire skills and that they have enough time. It was still quite stretched in many ways in terms of resources, even though we grow each year. But there's also more and more art. There's lots of people who love fire, and so people who have fire blasting components to their art. Mm-hmm. There's a certain little fire-loving side to burners, obviously, if you look at the name. So I think that the answer is yes. It may not always be
an amazing
a separate piece that burns, but
sorry, go on.
I think there's a love of fire. Did people get? Oh, yes, it was an amazing piece. Well, I was also thinking about Anea, which was a piece that was where you looked at mirrors. So you had two people stood opposite, and you saw partly
that was great.
Yourself and partly the person opposite.
Yeah, that was a great piece. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was really fantastic. It was out in the paddock. You had to go find it, and it was sparked by a trip someone did that year to Iran, and had a poem in Farsi and English that was created by one of the artists, and it was just a lovely piece. And that was somebody, the lead artist was somebody who hadn't led an art project previously. Certainly has done a lot of things at Burns, but it's exciting to get art grants from people who are stepping in new directions.
And did anyone check out the Sin City Dome activation or the visual projections? They're amazing. Hippie.
Beautiful artwork. Yeah, there was art on all sorts of scale. Did anybody see Valley of the Dolls, which was a box about the size of an old school TV, and it had all of these legs in it, all Barbie legs? That was great. It was just really cool the way there's small and large art, and you could so easily
I spent hours on that seesaw.
Or just miss it altogether.
The fairy bloom, yeah, fantastic.
It was a lot of work. That was its inaugural outing. It was supposed to go to Burning Sea this year, which was cancelled. And it was a lot of work for Glenn to get that working, and lots of chipping in, lots of people collaborating, and
Yay.
Spectacular.
And we had 2 art cars, Yuki and the K-Sub.
Yeah, 2 classic art cars. It was very cool to have those ones there.
Yeah, this is their last hurrah, the last year of the K-Sub.
So they
Do you
say.
know what they're doing with it?
I think that the storage costs and the crew has been doing it for I don't know, maybe 10 years or something. Yes. And so I think it's become difficult, but I'm not sure. We'll see whether it somehow an affordable home is found and it makes a resurgence or not. But it's certainly, the piece that they did this year where they had all of the sub-stops and lots of performances and, it was just fantastic. I got to be part of a dance. I was a squid, I was like pulled in at the last minute. I'm like, great, they're really desperate. Had a great time. It was great to see new music camps, new artists, and then some classic burners coming up, some of the older school pieces.
Yeah, I think there's some fantastic traditions as burns as well. So like they were playing the Dark Side of the Moon to the film of Wizard of Oz, and that is a beautiful sort of.
Is that when Positeka turned their stereo on for the first time? Because I was in the crew camp and heard this sound, and I was just like, "Where is that coming from?" I was drawn like a moth to the flame.
Yeah, the movie was at Centre Camp.
Extraordinary.
That was at Centre Camp. Yeah. AJ provided the sound system for Centre Camp as well, so that's why you get the clarity.
Yeah. Well, AJ is a sound god. Definitely a sound god.
What about some of the food events?
I got the low and
anyone
slow.
Go out and get some in excess breakfast, snack o'clock?
I got the low and slow.
I had the low and slow delivered to my shift at Centre Camp.
Ooh.
Special.
I have to say, low and slow saved me one night before the burn. I got taken there. I got a delicious feed.
I was a bit spoiled. I took lots of food because I was going to be there for like 12 days because I had to do blah, 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 blah. But when I turned up at the crew camp, there was this most incredible team cooking for everyone. And like, I would be wandering home at like 3 o'clock in the morning and they're still there going, "Oh, would you like a burrito?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll have a burrito."
Totally. The cooking for Spam was so good, and I was so grateful to coattail in on that deal.
Oh, it was amazing. I had no idea that it was even going to be provided. So
you really needed a briefing, Dylan.
Yeah,
seriously.
I felt like everyone just thought, "Oh yeah, you've won the effigy. You must know what these are about. You're into this." I had no idea.
I think it's important to note that burns aren't the most efficient way of doing things. So these inefficiencies are part of it. You came with everything you needed, and then you found abundance.
Yeah, I survived. I ended up contributing most of my food to the Spam kitchen.
Perfect.
Like, I've got all this food. Where do I put it? And
I made full use of Sanctuary this year with the toasted cheesies and the miso soup, and that was joyous.
It's great they offer food to give people a nice, easy way to attend.
I got to be on site for like 9 days. It was just such a treat to be there that long, to be in nature, to watch something grow, to watch it pack down. There was one morning when I accidentally stayed up till dawn, hanging out in Positeka after the music ended, and I went back and we camped back in the trees, and I was sitting outside the caravan, and I got to experience a cacophony where all the birds were all just calling, not even to each other. They were just separate layer upon layer of bird sound. And that getting to be in nature like that was just an absolute treat to me. That was one of my highlights.
Yeah, Sanctuary was really good for me too. I had a morning where I was feeling really I think it was after the effigy had burnt, and I went in there feeling a little fragile, and Scarlett gave me chocolate and a cup of tea and a hug, and I was just like,
I think
great,
you've highlighted a point though that I'm sure we'll all as
really
older burners get onto this year. There was a huge uptake in fresh new burners. When I did Sanctuary training this year, there was a beautiful number of new burners there, like heaps, which is fantastic to have those volunteers there first year into a burn. And I just made a comment on the WhatsApp group anybody wants to chat to me, have questions, I'll start a conversation in a different group. And I got probably about 20 people in the group, and yeah, they really didn't know anything about a burn. They didn't know about the effigy or the temple. They didn't know about the sort of things, what to expect. Some didn't know that they needed to bring their own food and drink. So I think as a community, we need to sort of think about that and help guide those people to the survival guide or the wet, where, when, or create different ways that we can communicate to help people understand what they're getting themselves in for. I've done a lot of I've done a lot of sanctuaries in different places.
Yeah, definitely onboarding.
And what I noticed is the biggest people coming in having emotional difficulties are largely the free campers who aren't camping with, they may be one or two people, they may even have come on their own. And so they don't have the support. And look, we just had a renegade camp this year.
Yep.
Toad Hall will be coming back officially in 2026 this year, I should say. Hey, and it's the least we can do, isn't it, Sacha?
Yeah.
But I encouraged,
do.
and we had, I think, 3 or 4 people or so who were new burners said, come and camp next to us. You know, use our comfy facilities, use our kitchen facilities, but also just, you know, we're here so that you've got space that feels homely and safe, and we're here to support you and guide you and do whatever you need. And as a community, I'm going to certainly encourage that we continue to be aware of our newbies, because they're a delight. There's nothing more joyous than sharing something for the first time with someone.
Yeah, like I might be a virgin, but because I was with the spam crew, I was instantly welcomed and supported and connected to all sorts of things, except what the hell was going to go on from when the thing started.
Yeah, and I am forever speaking Underland. I try to bring across the good duffers, the ones, you know, the ones that know it, get it, live it, love it. And it's slow. It's like we're going to have gender equality before we have all the good duffers at burn. So, we've got to grow this. Well, we've got to grow this. We're excited to grow this with this. It's still new in Victoria. We can still mould it, you know, and more ticket sales means more art grants. So I'm all keen to get, to bring those people across who actually know how to do an outdoor party or how to bring a vibe, or who are creative, who are looking for community. Just, get them over the line. I don't know why it's so hard, actually.
Yeah,
very convincing.
One of the things that I've sort of like, because in little catch-ups afterwards, and at a couple of burning parks and, parties that I've been to where there are people who I've met at Underland, people are like, oh, what do you think? What can we do? And I'm really intrigued at how it is that we can, once they're there, Jen, because I know it takes a while to get there, but how do you give people tools to utilize the kinds of things that are going on in that community in the normal world? Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't feel like you're in the normal world and then you're in the burner community and it's all really great, and then you go back to the normal world and you have to do things differently. What are the kind of tools to bring about some of that generosity and some of those things that we celebrate in that community to larger communities? It maybe helps eventually bring in some of those people that don't know about it.
Perhaps we could.
I can't wait to attend your workop next year, Dylan, on that. You can do it with Jace.
My workshop this year, I had an idea. I want to do a hug school because I'm a really great hugger, but I also meet people who don't really know how to do it, and I think I'm going to do it all as a comedy routine, and it's going to be like a hug school where you get a certificate and you kind of learn how to, like, what does consent look like? Am I going in?
I think these are great ways to sort of raise awareness too.
That's great. You could do that in the cabaret.
That's a great
year.
opportunity to have a little mini consent convo happening with the free hugs workshop, and they can be great ways. Even doing the spanking police out on the paddock this year, it was supporting the moot patrol. Sometimes it was going through people's camps and just dealing out on the spot fines if, they hadn't quite got their camp in order and such like. It can be a great way to educate using that fun. But I hear what you're saying, Dylan, about how do we bring it and keep it in our day-to-day lives, because I'm more and more living by the 10 principles all the time.
Which is an interesting kind of segue to this year's theme of threshold. It's like, how do we dissolve those? How do we celebrate them, but also kind of point out that, art exists everywhere, not just in a gallery, and how do we kind of get that community spirit into our day-to-day?
Perhaps we could hear some recordings from some of the first timers about their community spirit.
What a great idea.
Okay, let's take a break. Let's take a quick break, short break. After this, let's get into the participation side of one of the 10 principles. Why do we do it, and what's the value? What does it mean to the community? So we'll get into the breakdown of those conversations after the short break.
Thank you. Hello, my name's Katie. I'm from Melbourne, sort of from England as well. I love this place. I love the permission for everybody to come and be disinhibited and weird, and to feel extremely safe to do that. And everyone is welcome to just drop all of the normal expectations of society that are normally constraining everyone, and can just basically be a toddler again. And it's absolutely wonderful, and I love it. So keep being weird, everyone. Love you, bye.
My name's Erin. I'm from Melbourne. I've got 2 kids which I brought to the festival. The burner community for me is the most inclusive and the most amazing doof community that I've ever attended, and it's creativity and it's what everyone else brings to it. It's positive and it's all about inspiring each other to create something together. It's awesome. Get into it.
Hey family, this is Otter Mama from currently in Australia. I just want to say I love our family, our community. It's my happy place. It's a space that we all can be completely who we are. And thank you all for just shining, because your brightness ignites my fire. Let's keep burning together. Love you all.
Hello, my name is Kyla. I am from Melbourne, and Underland for me is just an absolute delight for the senses. The colours, the sparkles, the creativity is really got me in a state of awe. So muchas gracias. Thank you, Underland.
Tommy C from Albury-Wodonga. I love this shit. Simple, it's the best. It's just such a good community, isn't it? Yeah, just the vibes and just the love.
Hi, my name's Belinda. I've currently on Sanctuary and with a couple of lovely folks, and it's been a wonderful weekend. It's been so beautiful to be part of the Sanctuary space, which has been curated so thoughtfully and intentionally, with everyone really committed to the well-being and supporting the well-being of those around us. And that's probably the thing that I love most about the burner community, is that everyone looks out for each other. There's so many warm hearts and warm hugs and smiling eyes and sparkling faces, and it's been one of the most beautiful experiences of my life.
Hey, this is Ben. I appreciate burns because they are such a source of creative expression and freedom to explore, create, and discover new things.
Oh, yep, sure. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, my name's Tom, and I'm from Melbourne. And yeah, this is such just like a lovely community, and it's so great to just be in the moment all the time. I mean, that's the most special thing, and I think one thing I always look forward to coming to festivals is just appreciating the beauty that's always there that you don't really like recognize because you're just moving too fast, or you're like in your head, or you're worrying about the future, or like worrying about the past. But yeah, it's just people being human art, which is amazing, and I love it.
Okay, welcome back. Now, Dylan, you mentioned about onboarding new burners. How about something like a silly hat or a wristband they can wear around, and you can identify these new burners?
Hi, I'm new here.
I
don't know. That might work in some ways. I think the most important thing is letting people know that they're actually that you can talk to anyone. I mean, I'm a pretty outgoing kind of extroverty fellow. When I'm in the flow. So I love saying hello to people all the time. So it worked really well for me because I just said hello to people. I think the biggest thing for me was I'm really crap at like looking at documents on my phone because I'm basically blind, so I have to put my glasses on and so it was the what, when, where document, whilst it had lots of information in it, wasn't at all, it didn't have any tiered information. And so it was like pages and pages of stuff that I had to zoom in on to try and even understand. And I just was like, oh God, I can't even go there. I'll just ask people what's happening. So
it's always a challenge of what, where, when, and we've got a really tiny one compared to many others.
Oh, imagine.
I think the best one I ever saw had the ability to sort of flag or save things you were sort of interested in.
Or like load up to your calendar so that at least your phone was going, oi, you were interested in this, it's happening.
But I think what theme camps can definitely think of, or anybody running an event, is what can I do organically just to draw punters who are walking past? What can I have that lets them know that there's an event going on? Toad Hall usually has a space. Toad Hall is a theme camp we ran with the fantastic Space Cape about three years ago, and we're bringing it back this year. But one of the things that was handy was just having our own little board that said this event is today at this time, as this time.
It's a Toad Hall from Wind in the Willows. So, you go boop,
boop, boop, boop. It is. We're a bunch of silly gooses and weasels. I'd love to maybe take the opportunity to let you guys know what it'll bring.
What's the appeal of renegade theme camps? Why do you guys don't want to be on the WTF?
Generally, I would say for this one, for me, it was a point of ignition. So Badger, my husband, and I have this concept and idea. It is that whimsical childhood, keying into the steampunk aesthetic, also tying into that Victorian era that's very, it's all nice and straight-laced up front, but in the back it gets, this is the great binge.
Glory hole.
Gets a little weird. But we put it out there as a renegade camp for a couple of years and slowly drew in people who were, again, into that same aesthetic and loved that concept. And then last year, the group we had drawn around us, we got people coming and going, hey, I'd like to do this. Do you think I can do it with you guys? And we have finally got that official group together to actually put it officially back on the paddock, which we will do this year. We'll bring a series of events. Some of them will be PG, some of them will be not so much.
NSFW.
And hopefully bring back our traditional low tea, which is boozy tea-based cocktails served in the teapots that we did the first year that we ran it. So expect more things to come. There will definitely be a story time. You've heard Sacha's voice. He sounds like he should be on BBC Radio.
Okay, let's talk about the participation side of the burn of the event. Now, with participation, there's also communal effort and civic responsibility as part of the principles. Do they complement each other? And what's your involvement? What's your take on how the burn runs?
I think there's it's really interesting. There's so much work that goes on behind the scenes in the lead up, and you've got Community Arts Victoria. Obviously they've got I don't know what they call themselves, management committee, but then all the theme camps have all of their organisational groups, and then they have fundraisers. I mean, there's a huge amount of work that goes on before anybody even hits the paddock. Then they're setting up, but then during the event, there's so many different ways you can get involved. And I think that this sign-up form is going to be improved for, making sure that people choose some sort of volunteering. I mean, I've done greeting last year, requires being enthusiastic. That's a match for me. I've been part of a group kitchen last year. There's so much you can do. There's bar shifts, there's moop shifts, as well as there's always chipping in. And you can end up at a burn just feeling like you're running from one shift to another. You've got to go, you've got to be somewhere, you've got to keep an eye on the time. And that's quite a nice way to do a burn. And it's quite nice to also have a burn where a lot of your work has happened before you get there and you kind of get to enjoy yourself. So I think those can be the two ends of the spectrum, and there's many points in between.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I think we will, as a community, reach out to our new burners to help them understand what those opportunities are and what those rewards are. I certainly know it's just a fast track to getting connected to everybody that's there. I think many people who I talk to, their first experience of a burn is to be sometimes somewhat isolated. Like there seems to be a whole heap of really best friends here are all talking to each other, and I don't know any of them. Everybody knows everybody here. And it's like, no, we don't know everybody. We just will talk to everybody. So I think volunteering is one of the best ways to osmosis that education and have those more seasoned burners around you to go, hey, no, go try this, go taste that, put your tongue over there, stick your finger in that. And, so I think encouraging people, letting them know that you're not going to bite off more than you can chew. We're here to support your burn, and you give it.
No one's going to shoot you down.
Nobody's going to shoot you down. Nobody's going to go, hey, you know what? You're just on for the next 24 hours because nobody else has turned up. It's you can give as much as you can, and it gives you so much. In the words of Mother Teresa, it gives you so much more back than you're giving. In community connection.
And what's your advice to them for first-time burners?
Read the where, what, when earlier than when you arrive. Have just go in with a really open heart, because no one's going to laugh at you. They laugh with you. No one's going to shoot you down. It's a very, very generous and intelligent community, and I would highly recommend it to those people who are looking for connection. The connection is really, really amazing, and it carries on. It's kind of designed for me because I feel like it's a little bit like I've found my people, and contribute. There's no bad ideas. There's no stupid things, and I love that because I use humor a lot in my work to kind of draw people out of their shells and play a lot. And it's a place for play, but intelligent play, intelligent and purposeful play. So I couldn't recommend it more to anybody who's hunting for that, sense of connection and participation.
I see that thirst in so many people, who don't sort of burn. You see that in adults, this severe lack of play, and trying to communicate or connect it sometimes through their children and trying to get other adults involved in something, even if it's a basic video game or something, and just not getting any traction. And it's like play is really hard to find in the default world.
I reckon it's the elixir of youth too. I think, it keeps you young, keeps you looking young, keeps you feeling young. It is the secret.
Keeps you thinking young.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in any of the conversations, experiences, and whilst there's always politics is coming around because everybody wants great things to happen. I remember I was in the red tent next to the post office watching the flight crew do their pre-show briefing, and I remember listening to these radically intelligent, articulate people navigate through self-organization in a way that I just thought, oh my God, if corporations could behave like this, they would be vastly different. There was no hierarchy other than the strength of idea and the joke or the laugh or the purposeful point. And I was in awe of the men and women in that group, clearly making decisions and prioritizing things and working in a way that I was just like, this is really different. This is a really different way to be. And it really struck me. Try and bring a little bit of that into my work now to, kind of make the conversations flow like that rather than hierarchically or, who's the boss and who's being told what to do, draw people into that kind of, how might we do this? What might be a good thing? Can anyone think of anything we've missed? It's really vital stuff.
One of the conversations from the Burning Man project is about how what is happening in a burn is less of a hierarchy and more similar to the workshop model, the studio model, say the Renaissance, where artists are learning together and sharing skills with some guidance, but this structure allows us all to build and to inspire each other. Every system has its issue with freeloaders, no matter what the system is, but our answer seems to be to inspire them, to be like, oh, I didn't get it. I want to do more next year.
Yeah, there's very little white anting hanging on. It was full contribution, full open minds. And I was really struck.
So if the question was what should new people do, then I'd say join a team.
Yay.
Join a couple of teams.
Yeah, absolutely. But and volunteer, into theme camps, and even if you turn up and go, hey, what can I do?
And the theme camps is a popular one, but I'm going to shout out once again for the civic infrastructure. I never focused so much on theme camps myself.
And the Effigy team's always looking for
That's one of the civic infrastructures. But getting to know a burn by being a ranger, which was one of my first teams, was amazing.
Yeah.
Learning everyone at the burn by being a greeter is fantastic. Creating those deep relationships at Sanctuary or Center Camp. Joining a theme camp is a very valid way of doing it, but there's so many different pathways.
I think it's, would definitely encourage people to, in fact, look at doing both. Like, I don't think they're mutually exclusive. Being part of a theme camp, you do still need to be part of the civic infrastructure.
There are some burns that initiate that kind of participation where, although you're part of a theme camp, you still need to do a few shifts here and there. Whether it's sanitation, sanctuary, rangers, medics, or
and these are
whatever
enriching.
you're qualified in as well.
Yeah.
Look, it is part of a community building as well, which is what I want to talk about. Is that part of our whole, I guess, community and culture is based on that.
And I've been to burns where theme camps won't sort of accept you unless you've got a couple of shifts under your belt. They're just, again, everybody has different culture and different ways of approaching these sort of dynamics. But, I'm now Sanctuary because Sanctuary's been there for me. And the people in the burn have been there for me. The first one I went to, and for the first time in my life, and not being adulty, being able to play and have no responsibility, I just started having panic attacks. Like my brain was going, "No, you have problems, woman." What is this fuckery that thou art doing? It was bizarre.
Get thee some responsibility.
Get thee some panic. And people would say, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'd turn around and I went, "I'm not okay." And they turned around and they held space and they listened and they cared and they gave me some Valium, whatever else they may have had. And that changed my entire experience of a burn, that it's like, as you said, oh, wow, this is a whole bunch of people. This is not a normal festival where nobody cares and nobody has any responsibility. Everybody here cares. Everybody feels responsible. And it genuinely gives you that space where you just want to go, I want to be part of that system. And I agree, Sacha, shout out to ranging. It is the best way to get to know the burn and everybody in it, and a wonderful way to start volunteering. And greeter and gate both. But I know we had a new person on the perimeter this year, and I believe their experience was really enriched by it. And props for them for doing that.
And we know that there's also, there's still like quite a lot of males in spam, and we need women to go in there and want to be part of that and have the time. But it's an opportunity to gain some skills. A lot of these different areas of volunteering, you actually get skilled up. You can learn some things along the way.
Yep.
So it's, it is definitely reciprocal.
There's a great opportunity there too that we can maybe talk to theme camps and spam about. This could be a potential internship for skills. There are sound systems getting built. There are visual things. These are, fantastic skills to learn for many industries. Even they said the logistics of kitchen or hygiene. They're all ways to learn new skills.
Speaking of Common Arts Victoria, there's been some updates with them. Some of the talking points was surrounding the extension of Underland for an extra day.
Starting on my birthday.
It's not all about you, Dylan.
Oh, I don't know, Lydea. The universe is clearly presenting an opportunity here.
Oh my God, I know.
I'm throwing a party.
Next year's
700 of my closest friends.
Next year's Effigy is going to be a giant statue of Dylan, isn't it?
No, I would never submit that.
Well, I heard the Effigy was phallic. I'm just asking, is it true to scale, Dylan?
Yeah, absolutely. But more importantly, true to energy. I remember somebody came up to me and said, "Oh, people are saying that's just a giant penis," and I was honestly shocked. I hadn't actually thought of it like that. but I said, "Okay, I'm going to own that. Yes, it's got a lot of sexual energy in it, but this is good dick, not crap dick, right? So this is the anti-Elon Musk dick. This is not a rocket ship fucking off. This is a serpent whose head is pointed at his satellites to say, fuck you, Elon."
Nice.
And I think it's really important that there is a recognition that there are some really great men. You need great dick energy to fucking fight down the crap dick energy, because the crap dick energy is just shitting on everything.
We shall overcome.
I think
we shall come over.
There's a very marked difference between alpha male and toxic masculinity. They're two separate things. One of them's fantastic, the other one not so much.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's alpha. That's always the beta is better than alpha, because alpha is the really, I don't need to lead and win and all that sort of stuff, but I love touch. I love intimacy. I love that kind of ability to be strong and gentle. It's like I brought my boys up to be good men, and they're great men, and we need more great men.
And what do you think about the extra day of camping?
I want to hold space if they're not.
Yeah, exactly. And strength is protection, not threat. So from that point of view, yeah, it was a really sexy fucking effigy. And it was a pleasure to build and make and have the team, which was equally men and women, build it with me, and to have such a tactilely kind of writhing, amazing structure there that didn't. Everyone was like, "How the hell have you built this?" And so we left a lot of the scales off at the base so you could see how it had been made. Because otherwise it would have been just like sort of, like it's a photocopier, like it's got an outside and who the fuck knows what's going on inside. And so we had to let people know how it had been made. It was really great.
And I'll totally support that thought you said of it being a protective male energy. I saw many people snuggled in the coils of the snake, sitting there and chatting at all times of day and night, just sheltered from the wind.
Yeah.
In its loving coils.
Yeah, it was really, I was super thrilled at the gift that I could make and create that space. And create that fascination and still have a little bit of play in it. Like the serpent's tongue, 6 meters in the air, was made from a little timber snake that blew around in the wind. Like, one of those little $6, $2.50 articulated snakes from Bunnings. Nice little touches.
So, Jenny, if we're going to burn the effigy on a Sunday again, with the extra day, could we be able to shift that earlier so people could actually enjoy and attend the temple burn?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, and I think there's a community conversation coming up about this. It's one of these things. So for parents, if it's the weekend in the middle of the school holidays, then it takes some pressure off. There are still other people that need to leave to get back to work. I mean, we all take a bit of time off work, and I can't imagine a better use for the leave that our employers grant us. But, if you're going to move if you're going to move the temple to Saturday night, then the effigy is Friday night. And then the question is there enough time for people to get to the event and feel immersed? So you don't, I think that the idea of extending it would be just to do the temple on a Sunday, but still have, Monday to really, nobody has to leave until Wednesday or Tuesday, or whenever it is. I don't know. I'm going to go to my first Burning Man and I will report back as to how I go for a week.
It's a full moon on the Sunday this year as well, so
that's
a little bit of
pretty great temple burn.
Woo woo in there.
I think the challenge would be with the energy as well, because the challenge will be also with the energy as well. For many, it's a very cathartic process. The temple burn, it's an exhausting process, and it has that natural final feel to it. For me, I find I'm exhausted afterwards the next day, and for me it perfectly finishes what a burn is. It's
a nice culmination.
Conclusion. It's a wind down.
Release is the final part of the ritual.
It is, yeah. So I don't know what I would do if there was an extra day. At the end, I'd probably start doing something awfully executive, like
new burn resolutions.
Yeah, it'd be terrible. I'd be making lists or something awful and default.
Oh, the bass is due. Great.
Yes.
Can anyone think of any other improvements or recommendations? What did you guys learn this year at Underland? What can we improve for next year?
I'd like to host the cabaret that I improvised, but host it in a more planned manner, either back at Centre Camp or at Toad Hall. And on the Thursday, I think there's a bit of a gap on the Thursday of a low energy activity where you can still feel a bit of magic.
I think it's
definitely
growing. I think it's growing beautifully. Watching it unfold since it started, coming to it last year, it was an amazing growth. And you just reminded me of that time, like in high school, it was, I think, your summer of grade 9, and then you come back for grade 10, and then all of a sudden, all the guys suddenly have broad shoulders and, chest hair.
Everybody wants to have sex.
Yes, and it's all, hormones, wah! And it's just like, it felt like that. It's just like, wow, okay, we're in our teenage years now. Now the party starts. So I think it's growing beautifully. I think it's just, the challenge of keeping the infrastructure going. We're limited by how many people are volunteering, and more than anything, how many people are co-creating. But where it's going is fun. I'd love to see and hear more voices. I love that we've now got a family lead and inclusion. I'd love to see some more adult expression as well, and people's different point of views coming in, and that's growing with the gays and Auntie Maria's and all the different style of camps that are coming. So it's just get your voice out there, speak your truth, and keep it growing, and keep it a kaleidoscope of different diverse people and ideas.
Be nice. There was some of my friends who came at the last minute. They came and had been to a burn before, and so they came prepared to set up a little dal station and make dal for the entire time that they were there. They didn't have a tent or a place to do it, and they ended up sort of commandeering a gazebo. But it'd be really
great if there was a way to say,
oh yeah,
you know, there's a little kind of there's little nooks where pop-ups could like come in and actually do a thing.
Always welcome at Centre Camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but like imagine like a little place where people can go, like, you know, that's promoted to go, hey, if you want to do something on this day, come in, you can set up here, you can do your thing. You don't need to bring all of the kit. You don't need to have a crew to set something up. You know, there's like almost like in an expo, for example, there are main pavilions and there are B-grade pavilions that are built by the expo that other people can come and utilize if they don't have the funds or the resources to do something like that.
Yeah, so it's a question of centralized infrastructure versus people bringing the infrastructure they need to give their gift.
Yeah, but rather than centralizing, you know, 20 pop-ups, what you do is you sprinkle them through and you make them available to people to come and go, oh, yeah, I've got Dahl and I want to do this. Okay, great. You can have that, you know, set up in here and do this. I think there's also a really great idea from Sina, who's a foodie, to kind of create a bit of a central pre and after kitchen where you don't need to duplicate in every little place cooking facilities and, you know, rubbish and cleaning and doing all of that sort of stuff. But there's a sort of a common kitchen, and I think that's something that he's very interested in bringing to CAV, which I think would be a remarkable opening up of the opportunities for people to actually do really great sort of things that are supported by a cooking, and also a waste stream capture, so that your you know, all of your waste is coming back to a central place and can be composted and dealt with in a really smart way.
There's an opportunity, I guess, as well, like to maybe try and it might be a Centre Camp thing, to have maybe I think somebody floated this idea of a maybe it's a works board or a space where you might be, hey, I've got these skills, does anybody need them? Or I would like to cook some dal, does anybody have some kitchen space that I can utilise?
Yeah.
And we can check that board and maybe help connect people. Because, the dal people would have certainly been welcome at Toad Hall to use our facilities and serve there. And I'm sure there are plenty of other places where they could have occupied in a pop-up of other people's infrastructure.
You might want to make Toad Hall a part of the map, part of the legend, not just to go renegade, because people don't know about this stuff. So
yeah, look, it's official this year. We're coming back in an official capacity, but that's another thought. Maybe the renegade might be communicated through the what, where, when as well. But I do love that you find stuff that's just stealth, as you said.
Discovery is important.
Discovery is important, that finding things that are unexpected, it's a fantastic part of a burn. An idea I'd put out there into the universe for somebody else to pick up, because I have too many pies, as a concept of a first-time burner camp. Maybe people might like the idea of, hey, our theme camp is actually, we're welcoming first-time burners.
Maybe we can each take a quota.
I like that. A tithe of newbies.
What I like to see is an encouragement of micro camps where maybe just less than 5 people. You get some micro camp grants that can initiate any activity or any ideas.
Or Sans theme camps.
Yeah. I like that, Stevan, because it is. Most people think theme camp, they think the big sound camps, they think 40-odd people, and then you've got, my God, I've got to do kitchen, I've got to do waste, I've got to do
I need to
much.
do fundraisers, I need to get enough money to put this together. I need,
A camp can be, Toad Hall's currently 4 people. That's it. We're coming back with 4. That's all we need. But the gifting, it can be just individual people gifting, but it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be cumbersome. Bring those tiny little camps, bring them.
Okay, let's go on a last break. We'll be right back after these short messages. And when we come back, we'll just do some quick thought experiments and look at the burn calendar for this year.
Hey, what's up? This is Hotwire. This year at Underland, I'm the Sandman lead, because poor Bjorn hurt his back. Hopefully he comes back. Same with Ninja, we miss you guys. I just want to say a big love you so much to Steven Namley and all the Bonzaar people.
and everyone at Underland. This is an amazing burn. Just the culture, the art, and just the support that everyone gave to each other was really good. Yeah, just amazing, guys. It was really, really wonderful to be a part of and amazing to watch and learn from everybody. It was amazing. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next year.
Sure, of course. I am Ranger Tyree, and I would encourage the community to participate. I think one of the best ways to participate is rangering. I think, especially due to my neurodiversity, I think it assists me dropping into the space. It has me meeting people I wouldn't normally meet, get into spaces I wouldn't normally get into or certainly feel comfortable getting into, meeting people and creating friends, which is always difficult in the default. Building community through the work we do, and increasing that social capital for the Rangers worldwide even. Definitely please come along and Ranger, and even if you come along to the training and see how you go with that. And maybe you don't even participate that year, but maybe the next year you look at rangering and volunteering that way. It's my easiest gift. I struggle to coordinate gifts in real life, but gifting my time through rangering is my go-to.
Hello, lovely burner people. You may not even be at Burns yet, but you know that you belong here and you are welcome. I am Dana, or on the playa, my name is Carabina. And I'm always very grateful to be at a burn because it is all about the people. Burns don't happen if you don't bring it. So you bring what you want and you create what you want, and the community will be there to support that. And it's such a great place to come and find the people like you. So hopefully we see you again soon.
Hello everyone, Mayonnaise here from Underland 2025. Just finished my rangering shift off the back of a perimeter shift. Absolutely great experience. Would recommend it to everyone. Think we need more people who are willing to ranger the last shift of the event. That would be fabulous. Good vibes, lots and lots of beautiful gifts. I think my favourite tonight has been steamy hot towels with eucalyptus and chamomile oil. Thank you, and great rangering team. Love your work. See you at Aurora in Tasmania, November.
Hi burners from Underland in Victoria in Australia. We have had a wonderful time here in Paradise having our event. It has been such a wonderful time, lots of production value. Everybody here is a doer. It has been really magical, and we can't wait to do it all over again next year. So if you're interested, we're about building community. We don't really do any type of advertising. It's all word of mouth because we are about our local community and making it stronger, working together collaboratively. Thanks for playing Burn Bright, and maybe we'll see you out here.
Hey everybody, this is Rave Daddy and Dusty Kicks. Say hi, Dusty Kicks.
Hi.
We have had the best burn yet, I think. What an Underland 2025 was. I want to thank all the artists, all the workers, all the safety people, just everybody who contributed. This is my favorite week of the year. This is Christmas and Halloween and Easter all rolled into one, plus a birthday on top. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you, Underland. Rave Daddy, over and out.
Bye.
Okay, welcome back. Let's talk about some let's do some thought experiments. Let's talk about what do you guys what are some of your projections or some of your future thoughts about where we're going with the burn community and our culture?
I think one of the issues that we had was several team leads pulled out close to the event. So I think one of the future growth areas is the support around the team leads. That governance and succession, those really important things that we've learned across a decade of burning. You're not doing it alone when you put your hand up. There's going to be people around you. There's going to be a history. There's hopefully going to be documentation, systems. But how can we get people to feel safe to put themselves forward? Because I think people get scared off, but it's fulfilling, rewarding, and supported activities.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the best way we can do that, I think, is just educate, let people know exactly what these things involve. Like, I had a absolute fantastic time on the gate with the greeters. We had music there, we had the burn barrel, we had drinks, we had a great little mini party waiting for people to come through. And it's a fantastic fun time. And the ranges is the same. You walk around, you get to know people, you get free food, you get free drink everywhere you go. There's beautiful, it's really fun. It's a really fun thing to do. And even toilet ninjaing is get the job done and then I've got nothing to do for the rest of the day. So there's really advantages to all of it. So let's educate our people to get involved.
Yeah, one of the things that was talked about in the survival guide was photography. So could we get into a future trend where, social media has taken over, where we don't want any photographs or any videos of our event or of our burns? Are we getting more private?
I think those photographs are really important. I had quite a few people come up to me who hadn't managed to get photographs of the effigy and say, "Hey, can you send me some pictures? Because it was really awesome." But I just didn't take any, and that was really good. And I remember there was quite a lot of consent issues around a lot of the photographs that were taken. Like, do we need to get signatures from everybody who's in these photographs to be able to use these photographs? I think that getting that kind of blanket agreement on people who are walking in to say, look, there are dedicated photographers who are here that are going to be official, and they could be anyone who's contributing to that, who's got an eye and a nice camera and wants to do it. And that CAV are going to ensure that there are no compromising, kind of things that come out of it. That would be a good thing to do, so that people can go, oh, I want to check that out. I want to go and see those pictures and remember those moments.
I encourage leave the phone at home. I think it's fantastic to have photographers there who are there that's their gift, to put those photos on social media. But people want radical expression, and that doesn't happen if you're being watched and recorded. It can impact on what people feel comfortable doing or wearing, or just
or not wearing,
that.
The official photographer at the nude dance around the effigy might not be appropriate.
Yes. Yeah, and I think it also can, and I know a lot of people do require phones, but it still can be a barrier to being fully immersed in a way too. So I think it's a discussion that needs to continue. What our official voice is on, is it leave the phone in the tent,
Yeah, I see. You might see someone walk into a theme camp and start recording a video, and then getting everyone in the shot, and it's not what we're about. That's not taking pictures of objects is one thing, but the ideal scenario is that you ask people if they are okay being in your media, and that is way more restrictive than the default world.
Yeah, but it also looking for that consent is like, I'm in the middle of something here.
Can you not ask me if I'd like my photograph taken, because you're breaking my stream of thought.
Yeah, and I don't want to remember the default world right now.
So it's about how people interact with the space and people. And maybe getting your phone out and taking a photo or filming isn't being as immediate as you could be. And maybe there's something on the other side of that choice that you might enjoy.
Yeah.
I know, can't answer that. It's a pretty big issue.
Ongoing.
It's got strength on both sides.
I think you can, as
you know, those parents who are out there with their kids, they're taking photos of their kids because these are memories for them. You know, these are things that they want to record and.
But if they're taking photos of their kids
capture.
with, being mindful of where their kids are when they take those photos.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
and there's
no nude people behind them.
Yeah, or like even any people, like people are, vulnerable even to. You can be in bright coloured, crazy clothing, but you're a Supreme Court judge. So it's just not just the radical kink, but also, as I said, dropping people out of the experience they're having by feeling impacted on. But you can definitely take photos of your kids with some art in the background or around the, there's places where that can be done.
Maybe that's a really nice thing. Maybe what's happening here is it's not about setting a rule to go, you can or you can't, but it's actually about through education, as you say, letting people know, hey, look, this is a place of really free expression and be really conscious about what you're taking photographs of. We're not going to tell you that the rule is you can't because you're here and you're intelligent.
Yeah.
But, take photos of your loved ones, take photos of the art. Don't take photographs of people who you don't have consent from. And if you see someone in an absolutely fabulous, wacky costume, go and say hello to them. Do you know what I mean? Actually introduce
They might want to
yourself
consent to
and
a
say,
photo.
"Hey," exactly. They might be there loving.
So it's having the
right?
conversation.
But don't take a photograph of them without
It's
talking to
collaborative-
them because you're
collaborative meaning making rather than instruction.
Yeah, the invitation is you love what they're wearing. So go and say, hi, I fucking love what you're wearing. You look amazing.
Or,
and start
just
a conversation.
Just
And if
sneak
that
up from
turns into a
behind and
photograph, if that turns into a photograph, wonderful, but it's done with consent. It's like you don't go and hug someone that looks great without saying, hey, can I give you a hug?
So we'll keep building that culture.
So there's, yeah, exactly. And I think the opportunity is to say, hey, you can take pictures of anything you want to, but here, this is how we roll.
My concerns.
So it's
my concerns is that the technology that we have is going to be ubiquitous, and it's going to be you won't notice it. It'll be unnoticeable.
Yeah, sure, but we're all humans, and if there's a cunt in there who's wanting to fucking video something that's clearly not supposed to be videoed, that's up to the community to turn around and say, "What are you doing, buddy? You can't do that." It's not on.
Yeah.
It's like I've been going to the Hellfire Club once or twice before, and that's super consent oriented. No one is doing that stuff because everybody around them is aware that you can't. This isn't like a concert where everyone has their phone out and no one's watching the show.
Yeah.
This is a different place.
I've had that interaction with watching a lady taking 3 million selfies or whatever, and she was just missing the people trying to talk to her or walk past her.
Yeah.
And she came up to me and said, "Oh, can you take a photo of me on the back to this?" And I did. I took the photo of her, but then I turned it off and tried to break into her phone so that it shut down for an hour, and I gave it back to her and said, "This is my gift to you.
My gift to you is use your eyes.
You're locked out of your phone for an hour. Go meet some friends." I'm a very bad person.
I like that, Lydea. That's radical.
And the emerging issues or trend of AI. How do you think they'll play out in our community?
Okay, no.
It is a big question. I think
it's fucking
there's.
Where's my jetpack? We're talking about technology. Where's my personal jetpack?
Yeah, if it's AI robots to carry us around the paddock, I'm in.
Yep, done.
AI bicycles that don't fall over no matter how drunk you are.
Giant,
fucking fantastic.
Giant robot elephant. That's what I want.
What are you worried about, Stevan, with AI? Are you worried about Grok undressing people? Or are you worried about people asking ChatGPT where the next fucking free meal is? Or what are you worried about?
The artistic expression. It is not of a human.
Yeah. But are you worried that people are going to use
AI to make art in the Underland community and put it up and go, look at my art that's been created by a machine?
Well, it has been. Have you seen some of the postcards that's been distributed? It doesn't feel authentic, like the pictures and the layout.
Well,
You know what? It's just another medium. So use it or don't use it, and we'll respond as we will.
And people who are gifting have different skill sets, different ways that they gift, and they might want to do, as you said, the postcards don't have the skill or the time or the resources to hand draw things. People will bring what they bring.
I really enjoyed using the wax seals for my letter.
Oh, yeah.
That's very un-AI.
Yeah.
It's just another medium.
It's just another AI wax seals.
That's so total.
I think Stevan, the culture that the burner community and the Underland in particular is building is one that is based on humanity and craft. And there's no lack of technology at Underland. Look at all of the projections and lights and interactive kind of art experiences. I would hate to say no AI. What I would like to say is AI with intent. Use it as an instrument. It's not a tool, it's an instrument. If you know how to play it to make some incredible experience happen where you can map light on trees, great, brilliant, wonderful. But I think we're a pretty smart community. We're pretty connected. And if we saw slop, we'd go, oh, slop, not interested.
I think we can hear the voice that is behind whatever's being gifted. I think that's the intent, as you said, of the gift and the voice. There is a distinct difference between something that's branded and commercial as opposed to something that comes from somebody's heart. And humans can spot that immediately.
I sat with a friend who was doing some gifting thinking and was working with ChatGPT to come up with, quirky little statements to print on cards. They were all shit. And I came up with like 15 brilliant ones using NI.
Yeah.
Natural intelligence. and they were so much fucking better. And she was just like, oh yeah, they're much better. You're pretty good with words. I said, yes, cutting linguist,
But as I said, it comes from the heart.
Yeah, and I think, Stevan, you can't ban it. What we have to do is educate people about why and when it's crap.
Yeah, definitely. Banning is not the right way to go about it. But it is going to be a very topical and emerging trend. So it's something that we should have conversations about. Okay, let's get into our last segment is the gratitude and shout out hour. Let's do some shout outs of who do you want to give thanks to?
Oh, so many.
Yeah. Above and beyond the community, definitely Axel for helping me understand the intent process of building and, delivering the gift of the effigy. Definitely Rolly and my whole crew who helped me build the thing. To all of my colleagues and people in the real world who gave me the time off to go and do that. To the contributors who gave me so much stuff out of their waste stream, and contributed to making the thing, and to just everybody's generosity. It's quite extraordinary.
I'd like to shout out to Beck from Centre Camp for holding everything together.
Yeah, space cake.
And also Dan at Centre Camp for holding all the physical things together, lighting together. And to all the Toad Hall people, I look forward to doing as little as possible in the most fun way possible with all of you.
Oh, you silly goose. You silly, silly goose. I'd like to shout out to a beautiful lady who camped with us last minute, who was one of the leads in Sanctuary. I won't use sort of names and everything, but she was there for me in a moment when I needed support. And I think that I thank her generosity and her willingness to talk. I'd like to shout out to Toby Wintermute, who took so many great site crew plans. I know there's a lot of people who do all that stuff in spam, and I don't know them all, but I know Toby, so I'll shout out to him, because I don't think there was a second when I didn't see him working.
Oh, yeah. That just reminds me, I have to do a shout out to Ria on the Spam crew because she provided me with a hot water bottle that was like as long as my leg and kept me warm. And the next request I had, which was for a chainsaw, she also had one of those. And I was just like, you are the room of requirement.
Yeah. I want to shout out to Badger, who was there with hot vol au vents and champagne at like, I don't know, it was like 2 a.m. in the morning or something or other. Without of whom I would not have survived.
Yeah, great.
Yes, definitely shout out to all the Common Arts Victoria team and all the people that worked behind the scenes at Underland. And thanks to Sacha, to Dylan, to Lydea, and to Jenny for coming on. Thanks very much, guys, for giving us some of your opinions and your experiences.
Thanks for inviting
Great
us.
to be here.
It's a wonderful community to be welcomed into.
Mhm.
And hope to see you.
Oh, we're going to do terrible things to you, Dylan.
Oh, I can't wait. Promises.
Yes, so hopefully we'll see each other at Threshold. Thanks very much for coming on. This is going straight to the pool room.
Yeah, and at the burning parks and the burning pubs in between.
Yeah, let's do a shout out to the burning parks that the Melburners run. I think that's a wonderful way to stay connected. That's how I met Dylan for the first time.
Exactly.
And they're a great way to stay connected with the community and find out what fundraisers are going on and markets and all the things that are happening that are outside of the festival.
Yeah, those burning pubs and burning parks are great introductions for curious folks about our community, about our culture, to get involved. All right, thank you.
Yes,
see you guys later.
Good night.
Don't close the browser till the audio's uploaded.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
Thanks, Dad.
All right, good night. See you later. Bye.
Yo, what's up? It's Snoozin from Perth. I had a great weekend with 4 of my best friends here at Underland. And let me tell you, it's the first time it's felt like coming home since my life-changing burns at Blazing Swan. I love you guys. Take care.
Hello. This is Mink, also from Perth. Just want to send a big squeeze to everyone in the community. We've just had a beautiful weekend at Underland. And yeah, it's been really good coming home. Love to you all.
Hello everyone, this is Jules, also from Perth. Just want to say a huge thank you to everyone for putting this on. We really appreciated the party and the vibes. And yeah, it was lovely to come home. Thank you very much. See you next time.
Hello everyone, this is Stevan, also from Perth. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who put this on and made this such an amazing time. We danced, we laughed, we cried, we played with silly toys, we met amazing people, and I'm so grateful for this experience. And I love you all, and I can't wait to be back next year.
Hello, this is Buddy again from Melbourne. This was an amazing experience with everyone. It was really special to share something that my friends felt was really special, and they shared it with me, so I'm very happy. Thank you.
We have some highlights from the weekend. I'll kick it off. I love horses in jackets.
I also have a really beautiful quote from the weekend that I read in the temple, which is being present is better than being everywhere. And that really resonated with everyone in our group that we came with.
I want to just know for this photo if we're smiling or if we're just fucking around.
I just have some sage advice for everyone. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Remember that for next time.
And just to circle back to the horses and jacket ones, it must be said, like, I love horses and jackets.
Thank you. That's so funny.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Burn's been very amazing. Had some life stuff going on that I wasn't sure if I'd make it, but it's always good to get out here amongst friends and feel that belonging to community, that collective love and creativity that we all bring. I feel burn events and other festivals are some of the places that feel most like home, most like we can take off our masks and be who we really are and be inspired by others to be more ourselves. I had a lot of really warming and heartfelt experiences with people, and it's funny coming back to these places and feeling more like disconnected in myself outside of these places and coming back and being like, oh, that's right, I belong, things are cool, I can just drop more into myself. Usually it takes a couple of days to drop into these places. You really like sink in and just feel more comfortable, more whole. And I think going to Rainbow Serpent Festival a long time ago really inspired me in that direction. Like, wow, here's people that are just being authentic and non-judgmental, and the whole world could be like this. Wow, so deep gratitude for these spaces. Underland is really up there, maybe one of my favorite festivals. Beautiful community, nice to have a burn so close to Melbourne. Excited by a Tassie burn, got some swag from a guy for the 2025 one just recently, last night, so might have to go to that. Sounds cool. There's a plug, Aurora burn, I guess. Always a very pleasant time with you, my brother. Deep chats and Rainbow Rob. So always appreciate our deep chats about philosophical and spiritual things, and hearing all the good projects you're up to and receiving your beautiful stickers. Much love, my bro.
Thank you.
Such a good answer. I was like, an opinion from me. Definitely. Rochelle Dunstan, Collingwood, Victoria. Are you from Collingwood too? No. And I have a gorgeous little dog named Crumpet. Do you want to see
a picture?
Do you want to hear about my dog?
Oh, yeah, sure, go.
It's my dog Crumpet. She's a 2-kilo teacup poodle.
Oh my god.
And she's the cutest dog you've ever seen. And I will show you a photo of her at the pub this week. This is her at the pub this week.
It's like she has hair. Hair on the side.
Coffee with my guys. Amazing.
She's fucking perfect. Look at her. And
Wait, is she inside?
yeah, at the pub.
Nice.
She loves going to the pub. Her favourite food is steak. Big fan of steak night on Thursday nights. In Collingwood, you would find that at the Grace Darling. If you wanted a steak on a Wednesday night, the Fitzroy Town Hall. Tuesday night, we would go to the Rochi, and Monday night we would go to Marquis of Lawn.
Oh, that's a gooder.
Or Builder's Arms, which I think is the best steak night in Melbourne.
Builder's Arms is good.
That's actually my secret skill. This is maybe what my podcast's going to be about, is that if you name any day of the week, I can tell you what steak and parma night it is at which pub in the inner north.
Wednesday.
I'd go to the Rochi.
Oh, really? Okay, this is good to know.
Wednesday's like not a great steak night.
Oh, it's a good
It's a great parma night.
So Birmingham? Lovely.
Yeah, they used to be so cheap, $5 or $6. Just go there in my uni days. Yep, stunning. I love this. I could really get around this. I love any like. Is USC me? Just Dust Ranger?
Right here. Yeah, g'day mate, just be advised, I'm going to take the ute back to Benji's to pick up a couple of boxes and then take it straight back to Rangers, so I'll be gone for like 5 minutes, but I'll respond to it if I on this one.
Yes. Yes. How did you know? I was like, literally, did I telepathically tell you?
Bonzaar.